Ali, thank you so much for joining us today. Really glad that you could make the time and come over. To kick off, I just wanted to understand how many investors did you meet today, and if you think these were you got good insights into what the investors are looking at from a company like Immerso.
No, I think firstly I'd like to thank Vivek and the rest of the Deloitte team for being very hospitable in terms of the event, the location, the hosting, and the overall kind of ecosystem that they've been able to garner. I think that's a good way to think about it. So Vic, the meeting the investors and getting feedback wasn't an important facet for us, right? For us, the facet is also to interact with some of the Deloitte colleagues, look at different facets, also not from just within India, from different geographies, get an understanding of what's important for them, for the market, because for us, though we're a company not only from India, but we're also looking to develop a global product. So getting almost like a dipstick feedback in terms of the quality of your development, what does your product is it relevant to businesses and consumers outside the country was also good, right? The investors was fantastic. I think they came in with the absolute right culture, giving us an orientation of what they're looking for, giving us an orientation of what are the businesses that are exciting to them. Specifically because we deal in the businesses of, I would say, Web3 and virtual world and more high experiences, immersive content, there wasn't enough of a deep understanding in the space. But the capability to learn, understand, and the interest to participate was definitely there. So I think it was a great start of what I think is a discussion. And in our line of work, I think this is a good starting point.
Thank you, Ali. So across our Deloitte colleagues and the investors and whoever else you met, given that you are in something as exciting as Metaverse and gaming and Web3, what do you think were your top 2 or 3 takeaways in terms of where the industry is headed, or any market insights and competition on any key questions, etc.? So what were your top 2 or 3 takeaways?
So I think the top 2 or 3 takeaways in general, right? I think irrespective of the event, the one thing is that the business of entertainment so gaming is also a form of entertainment, right? The business of entertainment is evolving with the more adoption of technology. So for example, when you look at, I'm talking about 3 years, 5 years out, right? Immersive experiences, how do you develop entertainment for that? When gaming of Xbox or PlayStation quality is available in the mobile, how do you develop content for that? How is deep tech like generative AI going to play a role in businesses like immersive entertainment? So I think the fascinating part of this is that very similar, and the way we describe it is more in terms of knowledge-based internet to discovery-based internet to immersive internet. So this is the evolution, and this is a starting point of the business, right? So brands like ourselves, colleagues like us like to be hopefully the first few that is able to get started with industries and businesses like this, and then we have a long journey ahead of us where we will make plenty of mistakes, hope we will learn and course correct and move on. And we feel that along with investors, along with colleagues like yourself, along with organizations like Deloitte, become a very important part of the journey for people like us and companies like us, because you also give us wider understanding, global understanding to course correct and improve our metrics along the way. So I think intrinsically that collaborative process for us is as exciting as the business itself.
Thank you. Now I'll ask you a question which the gamer in me or the tech geek in me is really curious about. In my view, the role play, the gaming experience is perhaps ahead of even a PUBG experiences. If you were to crystal gaze and think about how many users you would have in, like, say, 3 years, 5 years, do you think there is a chance that there could be 200, 300 million users, gamers on the Immerso ecosystem, people living completely digital lives on the Immerso ecosystem? What are your views?
Yeah, so as a culture, right, what we do is everything is for kind of, and I've said this in a few of the meetings today, is high quality experiential entertainment for like mass market, right? So When we deal with businesses, the culture is again to deal with businesses at the lowest common denominator at a mass market approach, right? So for us, a 100 million user target is a benchmark at a minimum in terms of where we would like to get to, where we feel that there is mass adoption for a product like this. The two areas that we are trying to ensure that we are able to achieve through the process is, one is don't make it necessarily an Indian only product. It's going to be a more global product from the kind of quality, the experience and the technology that we create. And the second is to be able to provide that depth of engagement so you'll be able to spend 3-4 hours of the day, right? Now, there will be challenges in terms of, are you over-indexing spend on time on this versus academia versus real-world sport? But for us, creating this immersive experience allows us to create that fandom and drive value back to the fans. So that's the spirit of what we're trying to do.
I think my kids will definitely be doing a lot of their education in the metaverse as well. So given that they're already spending 5-6 hours in front of a screen, I would much rather have entertainment, edutainment and pure education be on metaverse rather than being purely through books. Do you think there is a chance that education could also be on the metaverse?
The answer is not a straight yes or no. So I think education can also be in the metaverse, but the experience of a physical teacher trying to understand different students and their different capability of adoption of different forms of education. There are certain components of education that cannot be replicated what a classroom can do. And then there are certain components of education or more infotainment that can be driven by the metaverse, right? So I think we are also on that journey to figure out, specifically in a sensitive topic like education, because it becomes a core fundamental of children and their future. How do you define what can be within the metaverse versus we might choose to provide other services also, but that's best served in the class rather than outside the class. So I think this is going to be complementary to education for kids. It's not going to replace it in totality. But a large part of what we will do is figure out what that balance is as we go along. If you ask me that question right now, do you know what the balance is? The answer is not. But for us to be able to arrive at that balance is going to be a process of exploration.
Thank you, Ali. I have really enjoyed the gameplay and watching the fascinating aspects of Immerso. Wish you all the best. Thank you so much for your time.
Once again, thank you to Vivek and the Deloitte team for hosting us. It was a lovely event and we wish them more success.
Thank you so much.